Welcome back, everybody. Hope you didn't miss us too much because we are back and ready for some action. Philly, seems we had to sub a player out, or I believe it was washed up there. B9 gonna be slotted out. Llama coming right on in. So, new player. Does that change things?
I think so. The subs don't always get reps. Usually it's just like somebody's buddy, and you're just like, can you be our sub just in case? And they're like, sure. So we'll see if they're game ready. I mean, Bot Llama is on the roster, right? It's not just some rando, right? This is an official tournament. You have to be on the roster in order to play. But it's about those reps is what I'm talking about. Because in this 1.8, it's all about communication. With more neutral objectives, that flow chart that we always talk about, Spooky, it's a little bit more intense. You have to be able to communicate effectively and decisively if you're going to go for an objective, because those timers, they're slim now. If you're saying we're making the call to go Shaper, you better everybody 5 do it, or you'll get caught out. You'll get a full wipe, and then they can take more objectives off the board from you. So
he's a tanky boy.
Very true. So Bot Llama is keyed into those communications, will flow nicely into the team. I think they'll be fine, but they have to be a good listener. So we'll see. And they are, I believe, playing on the support role. So, okay. Supports, they're good. I'm a support. You're good. Usually a good listener, right? You're like, all right, Carrie tells me go over here. You go over here. You go follow the jungle over there. So we'll see. Sometimes the support is the shot caller, though. So I don't know. I think the shot caller here, though, is probably Flame. One of the most prolific players on this squad, was a captain for Fang Draft, right? Like everybody in EU and NA knows this guy. So he's the shot caller for sure. As long as the team can listen to him and they coordinate effectively, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm the support, I'm not asking anybody any questions. Like, we're fighting here and you're going to back me up or we are going to lose the game and I'm going to blame you for it. Usually not their fault, but that's bronze lobbies for you. So,
yeah, right.
You talked about the flow chart of the game, and things have changed up quite a lot here, right? As you mentioned, the World Shaper, big objective, also takes a while to bring down. So, looking at these drafts, how equipped do you feel they are, not just for those fights around, like, the Fangtooth, the Orb Primes, but around those Shapers as well, because the fights around those aren't those enclosed circular spaces. It's normally in the river there, in that whole line. So it's a little bit more open. You got those walls that people can come over. What do those look like for these teams?
Yeah, very curious question. And like we alluded to right before that break, it's the Boris. The Boris is very good at taking those objectives quickly. The Wukong needs at least an item. Usually, before it was the augmentation, now it might be Mind Razor, right? They're mutilate or something like that. So he needs at least one item to help his clear a little bit more. So in the beginning, it's going to be a smidge slow. So we'll see. And slow by a couple of seconds, right? But that is massive in this game. So I think the Boris has a smidge of an advantage in that early game in the river. But what we talk about with the monkey all the time is he's catch me if you can. So he might feign to go for the seedling. Everyone's like, we jump, we're going down, we go low ground river. And then everyone's like, okay, pop, pop, pop. And they shoot him from above as he's running away. So we'll see how that cat and mouse game plays, my friend.
We will have to wait and see. Man, my eyes got to be on this Wukong, especially because Falcon was talking a lot about this Wukong being a pretty big threat. So we'll see how it goes here. Let's get into the game, find out for ourselves what these teams have to offer. Philly, where are we expecting things to really start the ball, right? Because both these teams kind of want to wait past this early game. With the Boris, it really feels like you want to set the pace.
Absolutely. And Falcon alluded to this well on the desk in terms of getting this Revenant off to a good start, getting some early kills for him. So if I'm this Steel, I'm saying, do you want me to play aggressive? Do you want me to play up and bull rushing in immediately? And if that's the case, then maybe they can find that elimination early. But Jax on this rampage, one boulder to the face will stop you in your tracks.
Yeah.
So, have to be careful about how you engage. But they're getting pressure early on here, friend.
Yeah, this is not the look I was expecting on this duo lane. I was expecting Ronin to have a little bit more pressure than this. Maybe doing the wave clear, the poking themselves, but that's just not going to be the case. And on the other side, Rickster takes a little bit more damage than Raleigh early on. That'll lead to a reaping dash, pushing Rickster back. Not enough to find a kill, but certainly enough to find some pressure. However, with these updated back timers and how long it takes to get back to lane, this really isn't the advantage it once was.
Yeah, it's been reduced by 2 seconds, and I think that's to help facilitate teams to get back to these neutral objectives quicker, just because there's so many more that if you do fall behind, then it just feels bad. Yeah. So if you can back more quickly, then you can get back to the objective and fight more, because that's what we want. We want to see the action on the map here. Now, this mid lane is going to have some poke here from Kimbo. He's going to be looking to put those R2000 rockets in, but the one downside of Howitzer in terms of his mid lane prowess is he's not the best wave clearer. He needs at least that combustion online to even think about flashing a wave, but he's not as good as, let's say a Gideon or even this Rena here that he's facing up against. So I would imagine the priority is going to go to Zen early on, but when push comes to shove in terms of the fight, I'm liking Kimbo.
There is the added fact that if Zane wants to get that soul essence, he has to walk up into those minion waves. And sure, if yours is pushing, you've got a little bit of safety there, because Kimbo has to decide, do I want to poke you? Do I want to hit the wave? But 9 times out of 10, it's an easy call to say, hey, you're trying to scale, take some damage for it. So it makes it a little bit more dangerous to play that game. You're really kind of looking for those opportunities to rotate out, look for those river bugs, make sure you're getting that guaranteed soul essence. Try to get online as quick as possible, as safely as possible.
For sure. And like we talked about in that pregame, this mid lane is pivotal in terms of facilitating the rest of your team. Once again, G-Rolly over here, the hamstring, just cutting this robot down to size. This is what you want to play. And if you do play Feng Mao in the offlane, it's got to be aggressive. You have to be the first one to strike. And if you played him before he had his update, I think in 1.4 with the change to his passive, it was this passive where you wanted to get that first strike to get the true damage. So if you're an old head like G-Rolly is, that's the playstyle Feng Mao really wants to do, and he's getting it done there in the offlane.
Yeah, even with the passive change, he still is more than happy the first one active. Now, let's take a look over this map as a whole, right? We've seen a lot of activity on the right side, a little bit on this duo side, but slowed down a little bit. Flame will be the first one on the seedling. Got to secure that without any contention. Does set him up for potential game. Eyes here. Ragnarok also on the seedling. Could have a collision course. Flame's not going to be able to steal anything away, but he is going to aggress right onto Zane. Push him back into the river. Link up with Ragnarok, but that's not going to stop the aggression coming through. And Kimbo with the R2000. First blood is secured for Ronin. Ragnarok has to watch him walk away.
And that is a picture-perfect example of what we were talking about, right? Boris, he's going to look to go for those objectives early, and the monkey is going to just play nana-nana-boo-boo, right? And so that made Zane say, like, banana, yeah, that's right. And it made Zane step up. For just a second, he was out of position for a moment. Boom, Cycle Breaker hits, R2000 rocket on top, crushed into the dirt. First blood goes the way of the monkey. Perfection there from Ronin.
We saw a big rotation come out from duo lane as well. Got there late, wasn't able to do anything. Ragnarok, undeterred, says, all right, you want to get the first blood? That's fine. I'm going to look for a first blood of my own on this Fangtooth. Jax will spot him out, but take a look at the position on this map. There's no way for Flame to get over here in time. This is just going to go the way of washed up for pretty much free.
Yeah, and I think that's a good disciplined play. You spot it out, but don't bring your resources over there. Get something else on the map. Get that extra wave. Maybe find gold buff. Get a river bug secured, whatever it is. And that's that EU style, right? Where you're just playing these little macro rotations to pull and push and pull people out of position. But this is what the Boris wants to do. Start these objectives early when you least expect it, and then you don't have the numbers over there because maybe you went somewhere else. But I like what Flame is doing here, recognizing that Boris is on the other side of the map. I'm going for an invade. He nabs the red.
And just look at the aggressive play from Ronin as a whole here, right? Flame says, you know what? I'm going to go for some invades. Duo lane says, hey, we've cleared our wave. Let's just see if we can do anything over in this mid lane. Unfortunately for them, they do get warded out there. But just the willingness to take those steps out and try to utilize the time that you've gotten is massive. Big shield slam comes in. Flame in some danger, but Kimbo's going to take right up to the skies and drop the damage down onto Rickster. Now trying to find a way back out of this one. Health is low, and Garali says, no, sir! I'm the executioner, and you're on the chopping block, buddy!
Oh, and it's a double for the lad. Love to see it. And Giroli was looking for that elimination all game long. How much pressure he had put onto Richter in that offlane. It was only a matter of time before he got his just desserts. And that's a big double. That's 2 bounties, 2 extra stacks in that passive for the Fang Mao. My goodness.
That's a nice look for Giroli. You've been trying to get the ball rolling. Now you finally got it started. First one big. The second one, not as much, but gets you closer to that third stack. Yeah. Now look at that right side. Mini Prime going to be started up right away. Giroli now has a lead, and Flame Poke is going to play through that as much as possible. Hopefully get this Fang Mao unlocked by taking down that first tower and really unleash the carnage.
And I love this Berserker's act from the side of Flamboykin. Really going to use the Void Walk, right, where he just zooms past you, slows you up, and with that dash, he gets the extra ability damage, and then boom, he'll just kind of burst you. They're putting the purple buff onto Giroli because they know he has the advantage. He's like, what, 2 levels up here on Richter right now? I mean, he is going to be able to press this advantage and unlock himself. This is what I was looking for the side of Ronin. Can this Fang Mao be unlocked so he can rotate around the map more? So yeah, a great choice there from the side of Ronin to give it over to the Fang Mao.
There's something so funny and petty about the one smackback Giroli gives Richter as he steps out of the tower. Doesn't do nearly as much damage as he took, but it's just to show, hey, you don't get to do that stuff for free. Careful though, Ragnarok in the area will look for this gank. Giroli spell shields out the engage from Richter. But here it comes. Fear's gonna come down. The blink forces some space from Giroli. That's gonna keep him alive and keep the mini prime active.
Whew, yeah, that's a Reaping Dash Blink combination if you've ever seen it. And that's another highlight that we talked about in the pregame, buddy. Knowing that this is how the Boris is going to work. Knowing your lanes are pushed in, that is when he wants to strike. They almost got it done there. It was like 1 or 2 abilities. If you feel like Richter was not as behind, they would have gotten that elimination. The CC chain was perfect. But that just shows how far Richter has fallen there. He needs that first item online, just hasn't had it yet. A good gank attempt, just doesn't come up with the goods that time.
And in the meantime, Flame says, you know what? If Ragnarok's going to be on that side, let's go ahead and take this seedling, get ourselves a little bit further ahead. And Zane takes a boulder to the face. You can try to blink, my friend, but there's nowhere to go. Zane will be down for the count. 0-4, Ronin leads. That's straight over to the Fangtooth.
Oh, my word. I mean, Falcon said it on the desk. This Flame Monkey is just like, he's Super Saiyan 5 out there. He's just going crazy on these kids. I think next time in the draft, instead of the Morgish, you're going to ban the Monkey instead. I mean, that's what happens, right? You go for a little bit of an off-meta ban in terms of the Morgish, and then you get burned for it. Right now, it looks like Llama, he might be turned into some sheepskin.
Llama gonna go ahead and jump up. Actually, llamas and sheep are different animals.
They're 2 different things.
Just in case you didn't know, llamas spit a little bit more.
True, that's fair.
Another gank here. Ragnarok really wants to focus on Giroli.
There it is.
He doesn't have a blink out of this one this time. And if Richter can get the kill, that's massive. Great knock-up. And just like that, Richter puts Washed Up on the board, gets himself a big comeback kill.
Yeah, that's massive. And Giroli, you've got to recognize that. You know that they have your timer, that the blink has been expended. But because of that, they know that the Boris is on the other side of the map. This Fang is going to be open. Flame is here to secure it with the hunt. Easy Fang here for the side of round.
They also know that Fang Mao is on the other side of the map, technically. So you're not
true.
wrong.
Well, he
there.
was.
Like the face showing up from the duo lane, but recognize there's really not a lot they can do against all of that. Take their steps back, just recognize the Fangtooth has gone down. See what else we can do. Mini Prime's still about halfway before it comes up here. The question is, what steps do Washed Up take? We've seen a lot of attention paid towards this right side, but it's come at some costs here, Philly. Seedlings have been taken. Fangtooth has been taken. Your tier 1 in mid has just gone down. They've given up a lot for 1 bounty.
Yeah, their game script is kind of getting away from them, so to speak. I mean, they need to facilitate this Revenant. Hasn't gotten a kill yet. Maybe has some farm, but Flame, he's looking to put a stop to that.
Yeah, Flame just completely blocks the entire obliterate. However, Sparrow only does get under that tower with Llama there. Not a lot more they can do. Richter, though, finds a solo kill on the right side. Finally able to turn things around, and the health bar, he didn't do too bad.
Yeah, and I think this is where the Crunch is now able to clap back. He's got an item online. He scales more heavy in terms of that bruiser, but we're bruising here in the duo again.
Bruising for a cruising. A Remy goes right into the grave. Flame comes back around, says, all right, you want to keep playing. I don't know about this one. Doesn't have the damage. Llama, a little too tanky, and Ragnarok, not the guy you want to fight against. Zane just going to stop it back, buy some time. But there's no objectives up on this left side, so I'm not sure what Washed Up is wanting to play for here.
Freshen up a bit.
It's just to give the Revenant some space so he can farm effectively, right? So I like it. And we were just highlighting how they hadn't made any rotation over there, so it was about time they do so. And I'm glad that they did. Get this Revenant a little bit, some more farm, secure that gold buff easy, maybe get your back in real quick, get that next tier 2 that you can, and then go from there. Once again, these two are fighting in the duo. Great mind, and it's Kimbo who secures it.
Kimbo's going to pick that one up, but Jirali is more than happy to have the help here. Put Rickster back in his place. Ragnarok also kind of being chased around a little bit here. Not allowed into the lane to defend. Jax keeps his eyes right on him. No real fight to have, but look at the timing on this, Philly. Mini Prime. And coming right back up. This is a beautiful moment for Ronin to go for another objective. They've been very good about securing almost every objective on the map so far. We've seen one Seedling, one Fangtooth go to Washed Up. Everything else has been Flame on these timers.
For sure. And this is that little push and pull, those little micro movements to give you space on the map. They saw that Zane rotated to the dual lane, so Kim was like, well, I'm going to the other side of the map. They find a kill, and then there was a wall of gold there from the Dusk side, just blocking any entrance to that river. Flame then held the mid lane, so Zane had to stay there to counter the wave. That created more space to then go for this mini prime. They secure it easy once again. I believe this goes on to G Rolly once more. They're really putting emphasis on this offlane.
I see no problem with that, honestly. If you want to really get this offlane moving, this is a great place to be. And frankly, with that tier 1 down, hold that thought.
No.
Hippo in a terrible spot. He's gonna just drop. Rickster says, all right, bet. You want to gank me? I'll come gank you right back. Should unlock a little bit more of this crunch. Both offlaners now unlocked.
He was just shoved into a locker there. 4-man rotation to the mid laner. Poor guy.
We hate Howie.
Yeah, my goodness, Bangle Mag will have something to say about that for sure. Does have the Combustion and the Tainted Scepter online. 4K gold difference, so not insurmountable by any means, but that is from those objective takes that Ronin has been getting time and time again. We talked about how they want to go for this pick composition, and they're finding those picks here, Spooky. They're getting one person off the board and rotating that into an objective where Washed Up hasn't had that full 5-person team fight yet to then, roll that into what they want to do. So once again, they're scaling, and they have the Boris here for the early game to help them with some of those objectives. But now Fang, he's the big one. He's up next.
Jax misses the boulder. Like you said, Washed Up hasn't had that full 5-on-5 just yet, but they've been doing a pretty good job of looking for those picks themselves as well here. They've been trying to jockey for some position, some space, advantage around this Fangtooth. And now that neither team has found a pick here, this may be our first 5-on-5. You can see all bodies moving out of their lanes, trying to look towards this objective. Paper here. It looks like we're going to go into the mid lane. Not sure how much opportunity there is here. The Washed Up is certainly looking for it.
Spooky, the ultimates weren't online. Shield Slam just got up, and they don't have Abyssal Rift. That's their main wombo combo, right? Engage with the Shield Slam, then Abyssal Rift on top, and everybody's, scattered to the winds. Now Abyssal Rift is up. Now they feel comfortable going for the Fang. Ragnarok, he starts it, but Rickster goes down first.
Big pick, no 5-on-5 here, and immediately Flame just takes out the opposition. 2 quick picks for Ronin, and Zane just has to sit in stasis. Nothing to do. Jirali spaces everything out. And somehow the fight's still going. Llama goes down as well. Ragnarok trying to answer back, but doesn't have anything for Jirali. Instead, second Fangtooth goes the way of Ronin. And that is all she wrote for that fight. 3-0, Philly.
And they expend the Abyssal Rift and the Shield Slam in that as well. And Jax, he has got to go for that 2 camp. No. He's got to go for the 2 camp because he needs that experience. But not necessarily an interesting build, but it's a very squishy build from him. Going Sky Splitter into Ashbringer, You're very vulnerable here. What he's at, 1,700 health. That's not a lot. You can be bursted easily, especially with the likes of a Fang Mao and a Howitzer on the other side. So Ragnarok has to play very carefully in a lot of these engagements. We talked about the communication factor there, Spooky, as we see the sky turn burgundy, right? The best color in the game, in the world, as the Shaper was taken. Now the meteors will rain from the skies. But in that previous engagement, they were split. I'm going for the Fang. Well, I'm going to try to backline this guy. Well, then, okay, now the Revenant was by himself. He's the primary target. They know that. They immediately take him down, and then they just find the stragglers after that. So great target prioritization here from Ronin in that fight.
Targets taken down, and meteors come crashing down. Ronin certainly in control of the momentum of this game. Things were getting closer. Washed Up was able to put a few kills on the board. Ronin has now separated things, and I have to wonder if that's maybe a little bit due to the squishier builds coming out from Washed Up as well. This Howie, Kimbo's piling, loves to just sit back, but Remy, the teleporter goes all the way. Oh my goodness, no, he gets pulled back down. Oh, that's tragic for the Twin Blast. Now, a journey over to the right side means Jirali might have some company here. They're only trying to find a way out of this one. Goes into the nether realm, but it's not going to be enough to save your life. The Earth Shaker shakes him to the soul. Flame looking for a way out. He's a slippery little monkey, but there's 3 people here. Here comes Jax the Boulder, trying to help out his jungler. Pulls 2 away. It's enough to slow down the aggression onto Flame.
I think they have to get out of this. They're behind. They've lost 2 people already. Don't lose anything more. Great peel there from Kimbo. Jack, just leave, buddy. Just leave. The BB boys, they're on you. Get out of there. They're trying to turn it. Flame. Yeah, he's even back too. Do they turn this? There's no freaking way.
Oh my God, they just turn it around. Rickster gets dropped, and just like that, Ronin reminds you who's in control. Flame with the double kill. This is some real monkey business.
Oh my word, the peel from Kimbo. Anytime they were advancing on Jax or Flame, he just popped around the corner, shot. They were like, ouch, that kind of hurt a little bit. and then a great void walk there, slice through a couple, then gets the proc on the Berserker's axe and pow, takes down 2. The monkey just doing work out here. My goodness. Now the mini prime is up. They have 30 seconds or so to take it. They'll be able to burn this guy quick.
Oh yeah, this guy goes down in the blink of an eye. Look at all the damage they have here.
Oh my.
Flames just say, yeah, get it, Jirali. I don't think he's in. Okay, maybe he comes in. Does he take it?
All right.
Yeah,
no. I think he does.
Jirali's going to end up with that one again. 3rd time he's gotten this mini prime. Seedlings are in complete control of Ronin. This game feels like it's starting to slip further away from Washed Up. And we talked about it on the draft, right? Washed Up wants to play for the late game. They're looking for those team fights. This becomes harder the more you fall behind, and there becomes a point where your 5-on-5 on paper is good, but in the game doesn't have the items online, the gold resources to really bring the win.
Yeah, I mean, you can say everything about how the abilities stack up, but they get augmented by your level, by your items. And so if you're behind, then they're gonna tickle, right? They're not gonna do what they need to do. And you're right, they are behind now. Especially, we didn't even highlight, they did take that Shaper, which adds that global experience and gold for your entire team. So that's another boon to the lead that they already have. And now Flame Boykin has the Infernum online. He is going to be clearing these camps even quicker than he was before. So his invades are going to be insane should he go for him, which will then accelerate their lead. Get those golden flowers with 60 extra, smeckles in your pocket. So well done for there. A Citadel, an interesting choice here for Rickster. That shows me he really wants to get into the thick of things, be in that front line like we talked about, that 3-2 composition. They're posturing now for the Fang. They got to burn it quick because it's the Primal Boy.
This is the Primal, but keep your eyes on the map too. Ronin, very slow to rotate over to this one. Seems they finally recognized it, but look how fast this is dropping. Kimbo going to show up.
Shield.
They're not going to be here in time. Washed Up secures. Flame Boykin drops on in. Look for a way right back out. Kimbo takes up to the skies and makes it rain, but he's in a bad spot. An Earthside drop brings them back down to Earth. Rickster, though, is the first one to fall in this fight as Ronin look for the flank, and they find the flank. And all of a sudden, your health bars are beginning to get real low there, buddy. Washed Up might be getting washed out of this fight. 2 for 1, 3 for 1 as Ronin reminds ya we're still in this game. Nothing's free.
Whoo-wee, and it's still
target.
going now.
Oh, a triple
kill. You'll love to see it. Flame Boykin going Super Saiyan 7 now. This monkey is crazy down. This is wild from this guy. No can defend, my friend. Like, he's all over the place. They can't lock him down here. All they have is the... what was it, Stupor, maybe the shield slam, but that's got to be used elsewhere in the fight. He has free reign here, it seems. We're rolling this one in the big prime.
Yeah, you take 4 quick kills, wipe the primal off of almost everybody on Washed Up. Now you take yourselves an Ore Prime. Sure, you gave up the second Fangtooth stack over to them, didn't get your third, but clearly they don't need the third stack to win these fights. Now with the Ore Prime, they're in a good position to keep on sieging. There's a lot of towers still on this map. Shaper is going to enhance this push even more. Philly, this is looking dire for Washed Up.
Yeah, very fortunate that the Shaper spawned on this side of the map that they could easily roll that into the 2 objectives, bing, bang, boom, right? And now that the extra push from the seedlings, they get buffed up in purple as well, so they're going to be putting the hurt on. Now it's about how you defend this, because, my friend, look at all the towers. The tier 1s are still all up here for the side of Ronin, and now they have to push deeper into the other side and put these tier 2s down. So it's going to be these 1-on-1 engagements, hopefully, or they got to bring numbers. Gee, Roly, though, he's taking the 1v1.
He's looking for the 1v1, but I don't know if he's going to win that 1v1. Rickster pops him up and says, hey, buddy, you need to slow your roll down. It was a close fight. That's Citadel. Gives him some extra procs, gives him an extra durability, and it's enough to keep him around. I was actually wondering if that would impact his ability to take those fights. And the answer is yes, but in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good pickup for him, and so it helps him in those 1v1s as well as in those team fight engagements. But you saw there, folks, how tough it is to take that seedling down. It took Crunch's full kit just to eliminate him. So they have to be tactful about when they make these rotations, how they're using their resources. Now we have 4 members in the mid lane. This T2, not long for the world.
Ragnarok currently split pushing, trying to take down that tier 1 right now, which means Ronin has a lot of space to play for an inhibitor here. Have to be careful though. With Feng Mao gone, it is still a 4-on-4. Ronin recognized maybe not the best choice to try to push our luck here. Let's reel it back in, take our steps back, be happy with what we got. 2 tier 2s off the board, and now Ragnarok being chased around the board. We'll see if Gerard is able to pick that kill up or not, but I don't think Ragnarok has a way out looking at the collapse coming in.
Yeah, he has his blink, so if he feels like he wants to use it, I wouldn't, because then you're just wasting it. And there they go, the full-on collapse there. I don't believe the Fangtooth is up. No, it's not. It's still a little bit of time, so it's okay that the jungler's down for 50 seconds, but that might mean that Washed Up is going to be late to that fight. It's about now, Spooky. What do they do to get back into this? They've bent, they haven't broken, but now they're losing their time wasters. Those T2s we talk about all the time, just the game's punching bag, right? Just the time wasters here. We can see now it's a 13k disparity, make it 14k now between the squads.
That is a tough deficit to fight into. 4,000, all right, not the best look, but you can play into that. You add another 10,000 on top, that's a lot of items that can come through. A lot of things you don't have. Now, Fangtooth going to be started up here by Ronin. Still a few seconds left on Ragnarok's death timer as well. Actually, Flame's just going to take the hop over while he waits for the respawn timer. Thought maybe they were just going to posture, but instead we're still looking to get some pressure out.
I mean, look how far ahead Flame is. He has 5 items online. The Guy Reeves and the Salvation now been picked up, so he's just feeling so durable. Now the Abyssal Rift.
There was a rift, and it seems that Zane fell into it. I just immediately popped out of the sky. That's going to open up this Fangtooth. Ronin in control. Jax. So much space creation here.
And an easy take. I mean, you get the mid laner down with their ultimate to boot, and then you're rolling right into the primal. It's just now about how does Ronin close this one out. It's really difficult for Washed Up here. I don't want to say they're out of it, right? Because you're never out of it. You just have to win one fight. But when every member on the opposite team has one more item than you do can be difficult. So they have to mount this defense, but against that primal flame that really does the damage, it's gonna be tough. They're diving in.
Jax with a massive boulder. Make It Rain doesn't secure the kill,
Nice.
but the primal blaze does. Kimbo gets credited, and now Ronin are gonna walk on forward. The tides have come in, and you, my friend, are washed out. Double kill for the mid laner as Llama drops. Now Ronin just look to surge forward to this core. You've got some inhibitors left. A triple kill as Kimbo is just eviscerating everyone. Hey Zane, are you back from the grave? Maybe you'd like to go back to it. Jax wants to push forward. He's gonna lock you down and Flame's gonna finish the job. The core is exposed and everybody falls. Ronin take game number 1.
Oh, it's a party in the Dawn side, and every Dusk member's invited. Oh, clean here from Ronin. They played their game to perfection. They did not allow Washed Up to scale into this game by any stretch of the imagination, and they were able to win that one fairly convincingly. For me, my friend, it's this Wukong. I mean, Flame is the MVP. He's the team captain. He's the shot caller. I think if you're Washed Up, that's got to be ban number 1 going into next game. Oh,
yeah, I'll remind everyone, this is a best of 3, unlike our first round. So, Washed Up, not completely out of the game just yet. They've got some time to come back. But man, Wukong was disgusting, Philly. I am never wanting to see Wukong ever again in my life. Because if they do anything even remotely similar to that, like, I might just quit out of the game.
Yeah, it's very difficult to lock that shifty character down. I mean, you have the steal, you have the stupor, but the stupor's kind of hard to hit on the monkey. He can jump, he can deflect it, whatever. The steal, you have to get up close and personal, and he could just jump away from you. So they didn't really have an answer for him to bring him back down to earth. So, yeah. Really tough there for Washed Up. A great squad, nonetheless. They just didn't get to play the game they drafted for. So I think, in between these games, they will be reconsidering how they want to play. What timings do they want to hit? And then draft accordingly for that, knowing that Ronin is playing this all-out samurai-style composition. They're just going to go swinging each and every game. So how do you counter that with the hero pool that you have, the teammates that you have going into game number 2?
Very tough look, because really, Ronin drafted to control a lot of that map, right? Raleigh was doing fantastic on the right side. Kimbo absolutely fragging towards the end, and Jax just created so much space. You've put a lot of questions down, Philly. We won't get the answers until the next game, but before we can get to the next game, we got to go to a break.
It's not going to be a break just quite yet, Spooky, but we're definitely going to be talking a little bit about this Ronin versus Washed Up. I feel like Ronin just kind of took Washed Up to the laundromat there. What an excellent game by Team Ronin. There's just so much to break down. I know we're talking about it in the background there. Ego, just talk me a little bit through about what are the biggest pain points for you for Team Washed Up going into that.
Oh man, the biggest moments in history normally have a name, so I'm going to give this one Bloodbath Under a Burgundy Sky, ladies and gentlemen, because Wukong just turned it up a notch the later the game got. It was not just him, keep in mind, but as the team captain, as the leader, he really helped set the pace to be able to push them to a win when there was some significant pushback from Washed Up. So overall, a great game, and I find that he was the focal point of it.
Monkey do monkey things as we thought in the desk at the start. Just Flame just otherwise they are going to be in a world of pain.
World of pain indeed, but I think we've said enough about these P's and B's. I mean, we're gonna have to drop down to the Sanctuary to see what both of these teams got in store for us, but it's gonna be HD Philly B and Spooky Mars taking game number 2 away. Guys, let us have it.
That's right, everybody. We're back for game number 2, and we could not be more excited. Washed Up, down 1 game, but up 1 player. B9 has returned to help out and make sure this team is right back where they started. Philly, Ronin in a good spot here, coming off of game 1. Can they keep that momentum up?
I'm loving this Wraith pick. We've been seeing a lot of players, both in NA and EU, go back to this Deadpool-esque kind of assassin, right? This whimsical fourth wall breaker. He just does so much damage. So it makes sense to me why Washed Up had their ending of the draft with the Kalari and the Shimbi. Two characters really adept at getting into the backline. But what Falcon mentioned is that setup. They really just have the rock. If they can't lock somebody down, how are they going to burst them down? So there's going to be a lot on the substitute who, took a break for game one. Are they going to be, fired up and ready here for game number 2? And they're going to have to be as we look, going into the later stages of the game. Very interesting in terms of how these teams scales. I mean, Wraith versus the Revenant both scale very heavily. So those kind of equal out, but then it's okay. The mid laners, are they the next up? I think I like Howitzer over the Gideon as they scale more. But then Zarus versus Kalari, I like Zarus scaling a lot better. So there's a lot of different things here. I do want to highlight the offlane a little bit. Shinbi is been a counter pick to the Grux because you can poke him with the with the wolf right there, and then if he does gauge, you do the circle rhythm, you get your shield, you kind of block that double pain, and then you can kind of just keep poking him out. So I like this ability here. It's just about where's the setup coming from if they do try to gank this Grux. That's the problem.
It's really like they were listening to you and just felt like putting on the demonstration of your talking points as we hit it. Very nice from this offlane. And frankly, I think it's going to be very important to kind of keep Girali a little bit more locked in to this lane. Because frankly, he kind of got out of control last game. Yes, there were times where Richter was able to take those fights, find those solo kills. But Girali was really a big menace throughout the game. And in a game where he had so many menaces, that really became a problem. I kind of want to highlight, though, this Kalari, because it's not one that we see very often here, Philly. Kalari has been one of those characters where she's not tanky, all she does is kill people, and hasn't really been favored in a lot of metas. But in a team like this, where so many targets on Ronin are squishy, it feels like she can truly thrive here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. But then it's about what's your clear looking like? Are you able to help your team secure these objectives like the Shaper and things like that? Kalari's not really known to start objectives, sort of like the Boris or the Chimera, etc. You really need to get those picks and then roll into the objectives. If they're not getting picks, the objectives aren't just going to fall for them. They have to, and the first pick that's going to do it.
Arrow only on the board, and there's something he struggled to do last game. We didn't see a lot coming out from this dual lane, so getting active early against a squishier team, very, very good look. I want to look at the other jungler as well here, though. Flame, and the one that just went down, Jax on this Decker. The double cages have long time been a very powerful tool, right? Separates fights very effectively, has very good gank potential here. We've also got the Black Hole that you can combo with this. There feels like a ton of objective fight potential from Ronin.
Oh yeah, circles on circles, baby. The Venn diagram gonna be crossing up, washed up. So
Venn diagram is a circle.
It is a circle within the circle. It's like Inception out here. These two, I like the way that they do that. And the Grux is going to be integral in terms of their initiation, right? If they can get a good smash and grab, pull one or two members in, then cage them off, then that's where that burst potential comes through, right? The knock can slice through them, maybe drop a rock on them, maybe just get one or two members out, and then try to pick off the rest of the members from there. So I really like their team fight engagement. Once again, washed up, not necessarily their team fight ultimates. They're very singular, right? The Make It Rain, the pulling into the Netherrealm, the Guillotine can slice through people, whatever. All kill is a single target, but yeah, it's going to be tough, but once again, washed up, looking for those picks. They really want to find those guerrilla warfare skirmishes in the jungle. That's the one thing Kalari can really be effective at. Because there are all these neutral objectives, the jungler's going to try to go for them. Okay, they might be a little bit low after fighting a seedling. That's when you strike, you get the advantage there, and then you find the objective on your own. So look for that Kalari to maybe take some of those engagements once they get about an item or so online. I'm looking at the Zarus. He has to get level 6 before he gets active, so you can see him just power farming in the jungle as fast as possible.
Personally, I thought Kalari was a robot, not a gorilla, but I don't know that much about the character. I want to go back to this right side, because you mentioned Girali being a big part of the initiation. My question is, how often can Girali be in those team fights, right? Because this Shinbi, if left alone, can just split push down a lane and say, ha, you've got nothing. Washed Up can take that first Fangtooth, much like game number 1. I wonder if Girali's going to be able to make a lot of rotations. We do see Flame Poikin on this right side.
Yeah, and a marvelous point there, Spooky. And that's what Shinbi is there to do, just to keep you locked in, keep you in that offlane, or you will get backdoored. So yeah, it's G. Raleigh's going to find it very difficult to leave this lane, and that's going to be a problem for him. So there's going to be kind of 4v4s for a while there. I do like that little rotation to the Fangtooth, knowing that Flame was on the other side of the map trying to power farm to level 6. Not going to be on his red side because he already cleared that. Okay, the Fang is open. Let's make a quick rotation there, try to burst it quickly, and take it down. So Kallari not known for those early clears, but the team helping her out there to secure the early objectives.
I really like what Washup is doing, right? Get yourself first blood, get yourself a first objective, play on that strong side. I'd really like to see some more rotations come through to this duo lane and just try to push this a little bit further ahead. You're already doing well over here. Try to keep that up. At the same time, though, you don't want to give up too much on the other side, right? Mini primes are a big deal. We saw what Raleigh can do with them if he's allowed to get every single one. As we say that, Rock misses, containment fence comes up, and Ragnarok says, fine, I'll jump on in. You have to jump out. No kills come through, but I like the pressure.
And I love the Kallari pick. Ego alluded to it on the desk about these counter picks coming through, and knowing that the Decker was selected, the Kallari, a natural choice. Get the double jump out of there, the cage, right? It's not a true CC. It's just kind of the zoning tool. Yeah, exactly. So you just jump right over it, slice right in, use the shadow dive, etc., and then you're still, doing what you need to do in terms of the damage numbers. Could be an engage here. Now they're just shuffling them out right now. Flame Boykin, he's going for the mini prime, the team there to help him out.
Love this. Got to get something on the board here. You gave it the Fangtooth, no problem. You tried to find that red invade, and someone shows up, you're not going to get that. Look over on the other side. It's going to be Flame who gets that mini prime, so not going to Jirali's hands there. And I have to wonder if maybe that's because of this Shinbi, right? You mentioned how effectively she plays into this Grux. If you're worried about him not being able to make the full use of this mini prime, fine, slap it on someone else. Bring it around to different lanes and see if you can get some momentum going that way. Because right now, Ronin really hasn't found a lot to do on this map.
Yeah, and this is EU style, right, folks? This is how do we find our micro advantages? We're taking little tiny steps to build our economical prowess and beat you in one fight, one engagement, roll into a big objective, roll into the end of the game. So it doesn't surprise me here that they're being a little bit patient, especially off the back of this Zars. You had to wait for him to get to level 6. Now he's like, well, if there's space on the map, I'm going to take it, but here it is. He wants to find this engagement. He's clad in purple. He's looking to fight.
Kimbo is here to back him up as well. There's the dash, and Colosseum comes down, but Ragnarok is not able to survive. The Spear of Nier pins him to the ground, and that's the grave marker.
Oh, well done from Flame. The spear, so true. But on the opposite side of the map, the Decker goes down again, folks. That is why we've seen a resurge or a mainstay in terms of the tank supports.
Yeah.
It's been the Rampage, it's been the Rick, it's been the Steel, it's been the Morn, right? The beefy lads, because they can stay in lane. They don't get poked out so heavily. This 4th round shot, Hellfire Blast from the Revenant, can chunk through a Decker. And so, unfortunately, 2 kills there for the support. That's why we've seen the fall off of those enchanters, unfortunately, even though Decker, one of my favorite characters in the game, fortunately, has taken the brunt of the damage in this one.
Yeah, I'm fine with less Deckers running around in the wild, personally. Hate that character, but you raise a very good point. I was actually a little bit concerned when I saw that Decker come through in the draft, and when it was immediately answered by the Kallari. It just feels like this Decker is not going to have a lot of room to play this game. Already you got to dodge boulders and hellfire shots on this left side. Ragnarok looking for another engagement. Remy going to be okay for right now. Containment Fence is still doing some good work, creating a lot of space. That's about the only thing that Ronin have going on for them in this left side.
Yeah, the Ronin's positioning in these fights is going to be what I call 2-1-2. So it's going to be the Wraith and the Decker in the back line, Gideon in the middle, and then the Zars and the Grux are going to be in the front. And so the Decker is going to have a lot to battle against, as the Shinbi and the Kallari are going to run after you, because they're kind of running, it's like a 3-2, right? So the Howitzer and the Revenant in the back line, the other 3 are just going to be diving in, jumping on you. So a Decker against those 3, I mean, you have 3 CC's abilities. If you use 1 on each, that's not enough to get anything done, really. But the Fangtooth, this is where it's at.
Finally, someone finds a way into the pit. Jirali simply sneaks in and puts Ragnarok out of the fight. Now look for a little bit more. Flame Boykin secures the Fangtooth, and the Ronin run rampant, find themselves 3 kills, and just like that, take control of the scoreboard.
I love it, and that's this rotation from G. Raleigh. He's able to rotate out of this lane, finally unlocking himself, and that's what you want to do, folks. When second Fang comes around, you got to leave the off lane, and you have to help your team secure that one. But that's the downside of the Kalari. They're like, okay, maybe we can start it, but you're so squishy. The primary target is the jungler when you are in those Fang pits. So they're looking for him immediately. They found him out because G. Raleigh had a great smash and grab, right? The initiation tool we alluded to. They burst him down, easily roll that into their first Fang. Well done from the Ronin squad. They're looking to take some plates off of that.
That was such a good distraction from the rest of the team, too. You saw them all posturing around those stairs saying, hey, look at us. Use your abilities. Keep us out. Okay, go, Charlie. Go. And he just runs completely free in, takes him out, and leads him to a nice plate here. Now, Rickster does push Charlie away, but you're not getting a whole lot here. Can you answer back with the plates? Maybe. You probably can push up a little bit, but so fast to come back to these lanes, you're not fighting a whole lot there. I really want to see maybe a little bit more from Ragnarok, just focusing on pushing these lanes ahead before going for those objectives. I know that's not the typical EU style. I have to wonder if maybe this is the right pick for that EU style, right? Because you have success on your Revenant right now. Leverage that, utilize it, push it further, get this guy ahead, and he will just obliterate targets.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but there's a lot of lane pressure here that Decker clears waves. That's what she does with that the Photon Disruptor, right? So Flame, he's diving in once again, Spooky.
Drops the Colosseum, and immediately Reyes wants to take a trip back out. Now the intention to turn towards Knight as Ragnarok comes on through to help out. Far's getting low, but Kimbo has arrived as well. Knight gets rooted down, has to blink out. That's going to be enough to give him some space to survive.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, that was silly. I love it. Okay, so D-Dog is our observer here for this one. So D-Dog, we thank you as always for observing. As your favorite character, the Shinbei, just got eliminated there. A good rock, though, from downtown. We'll keep playing Boykin pinned for an elimination. So Trade's going across the map after that skirmish. But do I even have time to talk about these augments? I don't even know. The towers are going, the kills are going, Raleigh's about to be going. Holy moly, the heat's turning up here in this one, Spooky.
Raleigh's trying to run, but Ragnarok is trying to cut him off. Finds a blink. Is there going to be enough space, though? Yes, there is, which means we can now talk. Never mind. Remy gets killed by Sparrow only. I'm going to ignore it. Let's talk about augments.
Yeah, I think now we have the time as the things are going to settle. People are going to go back for their buys, etc. We're talking about augments. I'm looking down here in terms of the Dusk side. Some very interesting augments here. The Infinity Impact. So that's basically, okay, you have infinite range on your meteor. It's like, okay, is that the most impactful one? Probably not. Maybe the other two are better. And then Flame, going for the one that augments his dash. So he gets the resets and the cooldowns and whatnot. So, yeah, very interesting for him. He's kind of wanted to be shifty through those fights. I would have preferred him to do the scaling one because he needs to be able to keep up with the Shinbi in some of these engagements further on. We're seeing another fight here over the Mini Prime.
As a black hole opens up and Zane goes down. Nothing to do about that one. Now looking for Rickster. Can they find themselves another kill? Doesn't look like they have the lockdown for it, but Jax goes on forward. A blink for blink, a blink, Flame Poison comes through and simply removes Rickster's health from the game. Coliseum drops, but there's no one left in it. Turn around, and there's a Ragnarok somehow in the back, blinking and missing because he's already dead.
Wow, a perfectly timed rewind from Remy. That's a tongue twister, folks. Brings the guillotine back, the escape tool expended, and then they're just like, you're dead, brother. And he goes down. Oh, man, what a chase down from the side of Ronin. And look here, G. Rowley. He's like, all right, maybe I'll split push a little bit. No, Fishman first.
Yeah, I don't think Knight wants that whole fight.
Yeah, no.
Jirali says, you know what, there might be some backup there. I don't really want to deal with Knight and Zane. Let's walk away. Are you ready for my hot take, Philly?
Yeah.
I really like Infinity Impact.
Okay.
Especially with the composition that Ronin have right now. The poke that it brings, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Between Wraith and this Gideon, there's so much damage coming from places you can't get to. It's Fangtooth. It's being nice and easy. Washed Up might not have an answer for it.
Now the Fangtooth getting burned pretty quickly. We're going to be looking for the junglers who will secure it. That will be the Dust side. They start it and they finish it, Spooky.
Jirali wants to finish this fight as well, but Flame Poikin might be the first one finish the health bar. Oh no, the flow state comes through. He evades out of dodge. A double kill for Remy, but drops down. Flame no longer in this fight. Man, that's a 3-for-1 and a Fangtooth to Ronin.
Oh, and this is why the Wraith is so good. Just, if he's uncontested, it's just free firing in the backline, and he can do the damage with only a few items online, where Rev has to have a few more than him to really put the hurting on. You see the Mind Razor and the Infernum there, so the penetration and the clear just in spades for this guy, Remy, doing the work in that one. Whew.
Doing fantastic work throughout the fights, and frankly, that was kind of a scuffed Fangtooth there, right?
Yeah.
Junglers weren't entirely on top of it. Jirali ends up being the one to secure the Fangtooth for his team there, luckily. Flame Poikin does come in, and a little bit too low health bar to stick around for the rest of the fight. So now, 2-1, Ronin leads 6 kills. Right now, it's feeling very good for them. I wonder what Washed Up is going to do next here, right? They have still a good chance of coming back into this, bringing this game back under control. Mini primes can be looked at. Towers can be looked at. All the tier 1s are pretty much down. I believe there's still one on Ronin's side in the mid lane. That's just standing gold that Washed Up can try to take, get themselves back up.
For sure. And I think that's... I'm alluding back to your take on the augment for the Gideon here. And this is a tale as old as time with the Howitzer versus the Gideon. Who wins that? Sometimes it's the Gideon, sometimes the Howitzer. You know, people have different takes. There's probably Reddit threads out the wazoo on this. But I think with that Infinity Impact, it helps Gideon stay safer in the lane and try to poke out that Howitzer here. Now they're making the push for this mid tower. They take down Kimbo easy.
Can't stay safe in that one, but the Coliseum gonna be dropped with the containment fence on top. There's nowhere to go, but it's Jax who takes a stumble on that. Knight jumps on out, but Remy's already brought the pain. Looking for a little bit more. Knight trying to stay on top of him, forces the blink out. Everybody has to disengage from this one. You've dropped the jungler. Now Jirali is in a terrible spot, and he's going to pay for it with his life. 4 down. Remy, the only one left alive, and he's just popping shot after shot. I don't know if you want to stay here, though, my friend. The tower is not long for this world. It might be long enough to keep Remy alive. He's still looking for some shots, but Knight's right on top of him. Goes into the stealth, finds himself a jump, and he's somehow still alive.
Oh my gosh, and he almost got Zane on the other side of that. If he hit one more knock, oh my gosh. G-Rolly, yes, he was in a deep position there, but he has to do it to distract from this Wraith. This Wraith cannot be got upon, otherwise all their damage is basically off the board. So yes, G-Rolly will expend his life every day of the week to make sure those knock-knocks connect. They end up losing the tower, but a great group up there from Washed Up to unlock more of the map for themselves. It'll be easier for them to rotate to these neutral objectives when they come online in just a few minutes.
And this is what we were just talking about, Philly. Yes, Washed Up has been down, but sometimes it's just one big fight that brings you right back into the swing of things. Feels like they're on even footing now after that one. A beautiful engagement all around. Question is, what do they do with what they got out of it, right? Fangtooth gonna be coming up. Mini Prime gonna be coming up as well. We're actually getting very close to where we're not gonna have a Mini Prime anymore in Jirali. Rickster smash and grab, gonna pull him back in, and that is all she wrote. Flame Poikin gives him a little jab just to finish the job.
Ooh, and it's a stack there for the Capitano, which we appreciate. If they can get another kill off of this, they can roll that into the Shaper. A nice rock there from Knight.
That's gonna slow down. Smash and grab holds Knight out of the aggression zone and into the danger zone instead. That's gonna force Knight to disengage. Boulders keep on coming through, and Ragnarok, he likes what he sees. There's some low health bars. And one of them is on his own team. Just like that, Sparrow only is taken out, eviscerated. Looking for a little bit more. Ragnarok on the retreat. Remy, Kimbo, both hunting. Stay spam, not going to connect, and that means Ragnarok has the space to get out. Good boulder. Slow down that aggression.
Yeah, good retreat there from the side of Wash, but poor positioning there from Sparrow. You're a Revenant, brother. You got no escapability, no tools to save yourself. You got to play safely behind your beefy boys, and there it is, an easy take for the Shaper, and they'll probably roll that into a Prime once those meteors come out and the seedlings start running through. But man, what a fight, and it's all on that smash and grab, folks. This is why the Grux is banned time and time again. That engage tool from range is just so, it's like a Ricklash from a Richter. It just is so detrimental to your positioning there. With that, knowing that they know the backs are coming through, Wash, they're going for an aggressive play here. They're trying to take the Fang in the midst of the Cataclysm.
That's right. We're seeing the ground shake and the skies fall, and it might be more than the skies falling. Rickster is gonna not be in a great spot there. Coliseum does the work. Now all of Ronin want to move forward. You want this primal, you're gonna have to fight for it, but it's gonna be a bloodbath as Ragnarok trades out the jungler. Make sure you're not in this fight for long. Zane gets removed as well. Remy just has so much space. Looking at Sparrow now as well. Can't be staying in front of this one. Jirali over the wall, and that's going to be a death sentence. Sparrow only nowhere to go. The Primal's still burning down health bars. Remy wants some more. The Primal goes down. It's all in Ronin. A full ace.
Oh man, looking like the Power Rangers out here, these guys. Like, what a fight for them, but it's all on the back of Remy.
Full health.
They're not getting to him. They're not getting to him, my friend. The Shinbi was focusing on the Fang Tooth. That's not your job right now. Focus, but maybe just get the roar out and then zoom out there, use the Russian beat, and get on top of Remy. Make him expend a cooldown. Make him miss a knock-knock so that resets. They're not diving and prioritizing the right characters in these fights. I didn't even get to see what the Decker was doing, but I'm sure she was doing some work in that one. Oh, man. Yeah, it's Ronin all in this one.
You know who else didn't get to see what the Decker was doing? Washed Up. They were dying instead. I like the idea from Washed Up, right? You saw them take the Shaper. You know they have to reset after that. Say, all right, we have a small window. Let's try to rush this primal objective down and get ourselves an advantage for the next fight. Unfortunately for them, Primal's also fairly tanky. It takes a little bit to go down. And Ronin just came back way too fast for them to finish it. Took too much damage, and, I mean, we saw the rest of the story there.
And I think that's unfortunately because Ragnarok is on the Kalari. If you were on a Boris or a Chimera or something like that, I would feel a little bit more comfortable. You know I'm risking for Spookies. I would probably make that play, but I would feel a little bit more comfortable. And it's just this Kalari just doesn't have that same kind of clear potential or damage potential on that Fang Tooth that some of those other characters do. Okay, nice little.
Oh my goodness.
I think they expended everything on that one to get out there and still takes a shot for it. There's siege in the base. That mid-inhib went down, friend. The seedlings, that is the power of them. This Ragnarok guy, he is under duress.
He's finally back out into the safety of his own fountain. But my God, every jump you have in your kit, use your dash to get out, and you still lose, I would say, what, 85% of your health bar? Still just running away? Remy is just popping off so many shots. He has so much damage behind each and every one. And it's tough, right? Because you can't just say, okay, we'll stand back and avoid them. He outranges you.
He sure does. And there's other threats on the board. This Grux is level 16, folks, the highest on the battlefield. He cannot be left alone. When a Grux is ahead, he's one of the most powerful characters in the game. So, okay, if you're trying to get to Remy, well, Grux is just going to go bop, 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 smack you with his clubs and kill you. So what threat is the top level red alert right now? And it's everybody here for Ronin as they're sieging the core.
Dane wants to bring some damage down from the skies. Doesn't find a whole lot there. They have to focus on clearing these minions out because Ronin are going forward. The Coliseum opens up, and now we're just looking at the core. But there's no minions left. But that might not be a problem if they can take down enough members of Washed Out. Instead, Ronin loses two, and now they're on the back foot. Washed Up looking to make a resurgence here and move forward. Remy, half health, has taken some pain. He's got room to get back out of dodge. Knight looking for more. If he can just find a boulder here. No. Decides to call it off because the minions are still coming in.
Yeah, you can hear the alarms blaring, folks. They have to clear these waves, and you can see the left and right. They're still marching forward. These creeps want to win just as much as the players do. So, fortunately, and a good discipline there from Knight, because Decker was still alive, right? Probably still had their abilities available, stasis bomb, containment fence. If he does go too far deep, maybe you get caught out, then you're another player down. Take what you can get. Your base has been ransacked, basically. Your core's at half health. Reset here. This is where Spooky gets real tough. Some players or some teams will be like, we're going to do our last stand, go out at guns a-blazing over a final Fang. If we win the Fang, we can then maybe win the game, or Prime, or whatever the neutral objective is. Some teams will be like, we'll fight at the core when we know we have some base defense, but there's some risk to that because the other team can just focus core and not you and win. So I would imagine if push comes to shove, Wash, they're going to ride out and meet them like the Lord of the Rings in one of these pits.
Yeah, there's just not enough wave clear in Washed Up's side in their draft. to feel comfortable looking for a base defense here, it has to be around these pits. It has to be a team fight. And it has to be finding Remy in that fight if they want to have any chance of success. Because right now, Ronin, they don't even have to rush this objective. They can play this one super slow and just wait for someone to have to reset to defend the base and then start to force something instead. Looks for the smash and grab, and it's going to be Flame Poikin looking, trying to find a target. Ragnarok comes down, and it's Kimbo who just opens the black hole, says, bet you want to fight here? I don't think you do. Sparrow only no longer in this one, and that's the pick that Ronin need. Move on forward, looking at the base. Oh.
Sorry, Spooky. I mean, that rock, that's the nail in the coffin here, friend. Ronin, they're storming the base now.
There's Storm and Zane still alive, but no, I take it back. He is not. He gets taken out. And this Flame Poikin who marches on forward. The minions are already here. And Ronin take game number 2 and the set in 2.
My goodness gracious. Man, they went for the Shaper, which is even more of a nail in the coffin. Knowing that you have that advantage with no inhibs to protect you, those seedlings, that's too much damage. So we talked about it. They had to ride out and meet him. Sparrow, the positioning wasn't there. Again, if you're playing Revenant, we talked about it. They have to play the 3-2, right? You have to be in that back 2. If you're up here with the 3, you're going to be prioed immediately. So Sparrow, unfortunately, caught out there in that final engagement. That's the bulk of the damage. Gone. And then they just rolled them after that. I loved the game theory from the side of Washed Up. The game script just got away from them. And this guerrilla warfare, this pick, this damage from Remy just really put the hurting on. And Ronin, they take it pretty convincingly in 2 here. They're looking very strong.
And frankly, that last fight did not get helped by the fact that as Sparrow was caught, Ragnarok was trying to engage straight into a Coliseum black hole and just watched their health bar get wiped off the board. Congratulations to Ronin for moving forward. Tough fight for Washed Up. They had some very good spots there, but unfortunately were not able to pull that one out. That does it for us on that cast. One more time, let's send it back to the desk to break it down.
Man, what an absolute show there coming out of Team Ronin. They were able to come out of that best of 3, 2-0. Ego, what did you see, man?
Rim on the. I think I have figured out the tech to dealing with Ronin. You ban any character whose name begins with the W. That Wraith performance was absolutely menacing, man. He was able to make so many of these squishier characters like that Kalar.
It depends on how these teams are feeling, right? Vens certainly can bring a good amount of nonsense at times, but they're also a very talented team. So sometimes it's just very good play that looks like nonsense because they're blowing their competition out of the water.
That's fair. Nightshade, though, is going to be a tough task. Neft, obviously, a lot of spotlights on this player. When we really break it down, Philly, I mean, when we were here last time around for the PCC, Neft kind of took a lot of the spotlight, both in-game and later on. Same song and dance this time around? I'm thinking so.
Oh, absolutely. First, I gotta say, nice haircut, by the way. Looking very clean. I've been due for a haircut myself. I'm looking like Grizzly. I emerged from land, and I'm like, oh, what day is it? Right? It's like, I need a haircut myself.
Hey, man, come to Atlanta. We got you covered, buddy. Don't worry.
I will. End of October, I'll be there. But you're right. Neft is a star player, but this squad is a star player. I mean, import MVP of the land, basically, like, was crying on stage, used so much emotion in this, and now that they're under the Nightshade banner, I'm so proud of these guys, proud of that organization as well. So a lot to ride on this. Bondrewd as well, that off-lane extraordinaire, just putting on a clinic, helping his team to win 4 so far in this tournament. Just clean work from this guy. This is a storied rivalry between these players. They play all the time. No love lost between these squads.
Other side of the desk, so other side of the matchup for sure. Many men's here. I feel like this has been like a crowd favorite for a long time, but then once we actually get onto the server and whatnot, yeah, some of the other teams wind up pulling ahead 1 step, 2 step, not 3 step, 4 step, just a little bit. And so my question to you directly asked, Spooky, is how does Vens, how do they become more consistent and kind of match these other squads where they've kind of ran out of breath time and time again?
It's really just a matter of getting those reps in, right? Figuring out where you're falling short and addressing that in the game. Is it our late game fights? All right. Put more effort into cleaning those up. Focus on those. Sometimes you go into a scrim, you say, forget about the early game, forget about the mid game, play well, but we're entirely focused on making sure we're playing this late game better. We don't need to win, we need to do better. And this is a team that's come up against previously Sin, now Nightshade EU before, and had success. But this is a new Nightshade, right? These are the LAN winners right now. You have to make sure that those reps you got in were very consistent and looked good, because this is a tough competition.
Coming off of LAN is absolutely a big boost. I mean, that's Philly. That's really where I'm thinking. And I know you've got experience in a bunch of different worlds where you see these teams come home and then jump back onto line after LAN. Like, we always talk about going into LAN, but we don't talk about coming out of LAN. And that boost you get from hanging out with your homies, sometimes for the first time in a majorly online game like Predecessor. Y'all went to LAN, you played together on the same, that's a huge boost for this team, Nightshade.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk about you're mentioning the after effects, the roster mania, the implosion that happened because you're meeting all these folks and you're talking to players like, oh, that guy can maybe fit on my team, or this guy can pull over here, that sort of thing. And one of the boons, one of the boosts to the Many Men's is M, which a lot of folks touted as one of the best offlaners in the world, one of the MVPs. Feng Mao in that LAN was incredible. And I don't want to keep harking on LAN, but just give some folks the context. Important. It's very important. But this is going to be a huge matchup in the offlane. In the previous set that we had versus Washed Up and Ronin, there was a lot of focus put into that offlane. I'd imagine the same thing will be in this series as well.
Yeah, Van and Meyer, very strong players in the jungle, and then over there in mid. Neft is tough. I'm tossing zero shade at Sagu here. It's just really tough to match up with Neft. He's just dat boy, right? Unicycle and everything. Bondrewd was another sort of like mismatch, in my personal opinion, in this game. And watching Bondrewd now have to deal with Spooky, are you singing what Philly's saying? Is going to be a big boon here for Venimans?
As much as I hate to agree with my co-caster all the time, yes, I am going to have to say he's got a good point there. I was going to say no, too. M is a fantastic player. Bondrewd has been one of the premier offlaners pretty much throughout competitive history for Predecessor. But M has been right up there with him as well. Always trailing a little bit behind in those conversations, but I just think he's always been so ready to make his mark on the game as a whole. And he's been looking really good in recent times. Not to say he was bad before, but you can see the improvements he's making. And when you bring him to a team that's already kind of doing some pretty good stuff on their own, the total, the sum is more than just the parts, right? It's so much coming into this, and there's a very good competition to be had. I do think Bondrewd has been pretty comfortable going up against M in the past. I think he's got to be a little bit cautious this time around.
Okay. A little bit of some growing pains here for sure. As we jump in here, you mentioned the Feng Mao already, one of the standard picks for this guy. Knowing that, might see some targeted bans here. Big picture, though, I'm going to default over to you, Philly B. Talk to me a little bit about what our tried and trues, our bread and butters, as far as our bans are concerned. What are we expecting to see?
For sure. You got to ban the monkey. Import is just way too...
After last match, yeah.
Yeah, especially what we saw Flame do in the previous series. Import can do just that, maybe even a little bit better, so you gotta ban the monkey. But then if you do that, you leave Rampage, which Import has also been playing pretty heavily throughout this tournament, throughout scrims, etc. He's been dabbling in the Boris with some very interesting builds. We'll see if he brings that out. I don't know if he'll do that against Benny Benz, but you never know. Definitely gotta worry about the junglers. There it is, the Feng Mao, as you called it, F. He's the first to go.
Yeah, I mean, this has just been the quintessential, you see M, you see Feng Mao, got it, done, dusted. Let's take that conversation to the next step, though, Philly. M, yeah, this is his guy, Feng Mao. When Feng Mao is taken off of the board, how many slots does M fall down? Because he is the Mao specialist, but what else does he got?
It's the Grux, and now the Grux is there. So
also
they're really, this is what we're highlighting, they're really targeting M. He's a fantastic player, but his hero pool is very limited in terms of how top tier he can push some of the characters he's best at. So yeah, he's going to have to dig deep to find that third tier guy, see if he can go up against Bondrewd. But on the flip side, Bondrewd's been playing the Ure 2 games out of 4 so far, looking absolutely dominant. They take that away from him. So this is, once again, it's off lane heavy between these squads, and there is the monkey, tried and true.
Double bands looking at M. Mars, put on your coach hat. What are you telling M to play?
Honestly, I'm probably waiting until we see a little bit more of the draft come through from Nightshade at this point. You've been focused out. You've got your top 2 characters hit. They're probably not going to hit you with a third one, and if they do, it doesn't really matter. At this point, I'm waiting to see what my competition is and see, do we need a diver? Do we need a front line? Do we need something that can split push like the Shinbi? There's a lot still up on this board. I think it would be a mistake to go too heavy into prioritizing M at this point. If your top 2 picks aren't there, there's really no reason to rush this offlane pick. Especially with this Rampage being locked in, you don't know where that's going. We've seen it jungle, off, we've seen it support. You don't have any information to work with, play it safe for now.
Interesting choice here. You know, I think a lot of people look at a specialist like M and say, all right, you don't have your 1 or 2 shots. We've got to prio you. Instead, looks like what could be some jungle stuff. And Crunch, I feel like we don't see that dude anymore, really much at all, Philly.
Yeah, he likes to punch, and he's been punching now in the 1.8 patch. Guy, that's his tagline. He's like, "I'm Crunch. I like to punch." That's
yes,
that's what he says.
Okay.
But you see, he did get that extra boost in the physical power department, just a straight up stat, and then they fixed to the Falcon Punch augment. Some folks have been running that, so I think they like this in the offlane, especially with how many people they've taken out. Kwong has been another tried and true ban that we've seen time and time again throughout this tournament thus far. Finally is able to make it through. That will be on, well, actually, that might go offlane, because knowing Ben is the jungler here for Vennyven's. Vennyven's the captain, the shot caller of the squad. He likes those high tempo, high acceleration characters, is known for the crunch. He might be going jungle in this one.
A little bit of ambiguity, always a good look when it comes down to MOBAs. I mean, you know, when you're looking at the picks and bans, if your opponent can't really figure out where any of the characters are going to go, they can't draft accurately for those matchups. The game doesn't hinge on those matchups, but you're always happy to get some bread with your butter for sure. So Howie going to be playing likely in the mid lane, and then we've got the Grim showing up one more time. A character that has ramped up in popularity as of late, Mars, and I'm a fan. He does way too much damage, and I like it that way.
I knew I liked you, F. I am also a fan of the Grim, and I think it's actually a really good pick here. Both these backliners, very good for what they see from Vennyven's right now, because the shield that Grim has, very easy to utilize against both Crunch and Kwong. You can see them both coming. You know when you have to use it. You can evade an ability very effectively. Same is true for this Howie. You see someone coming. All right, I'm up here now. Leave me alone. Ramps up very effectively, and if this is a Rampage support with this Grim, there's a ton of kill potential here. You said it yourself, does so much damage. When you have the lockdown as well, these are very easy targets to get active on. Steel might make it a little bit more difficult, but I don't think he has enough disengage to fully stop the kill potential. I'm looking for a very safe carry from Vennyven's.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that I see on the side of double V double M is the idea that like 2 of the Crunch is pretty thick. You know, we've got some Steel here, also another thick character, so a lot of damage on the side of Grim and Howie here. But I think we're gonna need a little bit more oomph, because the draft on the right side of the screen seems to be a little tankier, or at least more elusive than we might have expected, Philly.
Yeah, maybe a Wraith. Now that the second phase of bans has gone through, maybe a Wraith, because these 3 guys are going to be in the front line. The Wraith could have some free firing in the back. I want to highlight this ban on the Muriel. So Penguin, who's the support for Nightshade EU, has been playing Muriel and FaZe. And that is who they've been pairing with the Grim. So this first pick ramp is a farce, right? It's like, oh, it could go support. We've seen it from everybody else. No, its import's going to be playing that Rampage. They're going to be looking for an Enchanter support to keep the Grim safe. Yes, Spooky, a really good point in terms of there's kill potential. There's a little bit of disengage, but the Enchanter supports work a little bit better with the Grim to keep him alive and keep him healthy. So I really like that they banned the Muriel. Maybe they should have banned the FaZe. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick it. They go for the Decker instead. All my analysis down the drain, my friends. But I'm liking the circle in circle action from EU here.
Yeah, no, I think it's giga important to do your homework. You see the Muriel, you only get one, so you ban out the Muriel or the phase, and then it's up to the other side to sort of figure out, listen, looking at the draft, Decker fits in there just as well as phase, right? But they've just been practicing phase more recently. Maybe it was a bait. You see this all the time from teams where it's just like, all right, big tournament coming up. I'm going to play nothing but Grux mid and get them low, and then they ban it. You're like, haha, idiots. So, maybe it's that. I'm probably overthinking it. At the end of the day, I think that, phase, you're sitting in a situation where you're like, they know we're going to be hitting the phase. Bring them something a little bit different. It's a best of 3. We only got to win 2. And so with our draft pretty much big dropped down, big damage out of Grim and Big Z on the left side, and then over on Vennyven's Many Men's, we've got that ADC coming out from Rev. So I want you to talk about Rev as sort of our final point here. I think it's an interesting choice in that role.
It's certainly very interesting. Brings a lot of big damage. One thing he does do is play pretty effectively into this Grim. Grim can't really spell shield a whole lot coming out from the Grim,
True.
Revenant.
The Rev.
You're looking to spell shield the Scar, most importantly. Otherwise, you're getting rooted down. The Obliterate will only be blocking, or get blocked 1 tick. The rest will connect with you. You'll get rooted. You'll go into the Nether Realm. You will get 4 shot. The Steel on top means there's a lot of safety for this Revenant. He can just kind of engage whenever he wants to. There's a lot of aggression that can come out from VVMM. And paired with the Decker, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of Decker in the meta right now. Yes, the double circles are nice, the cages are great, has a great long-range stun, but once you get on top of her, she is pretty much dead. In the meta right now,
Sure.
These guys blow up very quickly. Revenant can either 4-shot Decker, or he can 4-shot the Grim. He's got targets galore, and you really only got Revenant on the other side to target. This steel is going to be a big wall in your face, put up the shield wall. I think Nightshade's dual lane is actually going to struggle into what VVMM has drafted here.
Largely agree. Philly, are you here as well?
I am, because what I'm thinking is from the side of Nightshade EU, it's going to be more of a 3-2, right? The 3 backliners and 2 frontliners. How do these 2 frontliners jump over leapfrog the 3 frontliners? So they're playing a 3-2 on the other side. So
Sure.
You can see where there's going to be a mismatch of one character between these 2 squads. So import is going to be massively important on getting on top of this Revenant because he'll be able to take the shots. The Zarus, if he dives on him, he can take maybe 1 or 2 shots, but then if you get Netherrealm, the Colosseum's gone, whatever. So it's going to really be on import to find this Revenant. But the poke damage, we haven't even talked about the gadget. It's anti-dive. Right? As soon as you dive on my Revenant, here's a Tesla Dome, I'm zapping you. You don't want to fight in that, right? I'll put a Coliseum, well, I'm going to anti-dive that with the Tesla Dome. This gadget, wildly important here for the side of EVM to deny the dive.
Is that going to be enough damage? On either side, honestly, I feel like the Grim, we always look at big damage, and Zarus is going to be jumping on people for sure. Rev is the guy. Absolutely. We get it. You've got Quang. It feels like a lot of the damage on Vennyven's team is front-loaded onto Rev or Quang have to play hero ball. Mars, am I a little off the mark here, or is it kind of front-loaded damage here?
No, I think I kind of agree with you on that. Quang and Crunch are going to be getting active, pumping out a lot of damage, whereas the rest of it kind of has to play back. Gadget has her abilities on kind of a timer, right? Hat has a tick, it's a time bomb. Tesla Dome, damage over time, you can move out of it. Same with her little ray. Whereas you look over at Nightshade EU,
It's a big ray.
it is a big ray, it's a big area, but you can move out of a lot of Gadget's damage and avoid pretty much everything. That leaves Revenant to just kind of find the 4 shots. Once he goes into the reload, you're down for a little bit. There's Nightshade EU, constantly pumping out damage with the Grim, constantly looking for something with this Howie. He's going to be firing shots just all the time. Once the R2000 is down, well, here's a minefield. By the time that thing's done, here's another R2000. Are you on top of me? Down from the skies. There's so much more consistent damage from Nightshade EU, which I think makes their team fights look a little bit better. But like Philly said, you gotta be careful with your dive.
That's the big deal. A lot of difference with the gadget here. A little bit of personal news. By far my favorite hero. I think that she is so cool, so fun.
Gadget?
Yeah, you can just walk away from her damage. Like, I didn't even realize it was that hot of a take. I didn't realize this was a hot take. I think she's dope. I don't know.
That's not a hot take. No. Like Lance is a big fan. Bangle Mac's a big fan. There's a lot of gadget fans out there. So you're in good company there, F. Dot, for sure.
Good. I'm in good. You know what?
company.
I'm in good company just for being here in Predecessor Nation. Thank you so much for having me. But that's it for the desk. We've got the actual game coming at you. Let's jump into game one of a possible 3-game set right now.
F. Dot, Spooky, and Filipino. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Welcome to the casting desk here. TNT is here to deliver what could be an instant classic here. Venny Vens and the Many Men's taking on Nightshade EU. Tang, I feel like whenever there's this conversation looking at the teams going into this one about who takes the whole thing, very difficult not to hear both of these teams mentioned.
Yeah, no, like I think both of these teams are probably the favorites together with Indecisive as well. On the other side of the bracket, I think we have seen a lot of promising teams today. Like we're thinking back of a team like Capo and Friends, right? But like not necessarily like at the peak of the peak, right? Like those are the teams that can become dark horses, that can make it into the top 4, no problem. But these two teams are expected to make it, right? That's why this semifinal is already such a banger, because we are obviously in the winner's bracket. Whoever loses this drops down to the loser's bracket, but whoever wins this has like a good shot, right? And already sort of showing that they are the best, that the rest of the teams have to keep them in mind.
I think the key word here is elevation, right? I mean, no disrespect to the other teams, as you said, Team X, Circadian Rhythm, Capo and Friends as well. But going from playing against them to now playing against tournament favorites, the creme de la creme, really, of teams. This is going to be a big test. And honestly, with Nightshade EU, and I also feel with Venny Vens and Many Men's, there have been a few question marks. Is it going to gel? Is it going to work? Well, my friends, we're about to find out. Welcome down to the Sanctuary map. Let's get this semi-final underway.
Oh, I'm so hyped for this. Okay,
know, right?
So TJ, let's look at both of these teams again, while we have a look at the augments as well. I don't think anything is super important, so if you're interested, just read it as fast as you can. I think everything is pretty stock standard so far, but what is not stock standard is these players, of course. Both of those teams consist of players that have made it into the top 4 in our last event in PCC. Yeah. Both of these teams are very good at playing against each other. Both of these teams have scrimmed a lot, and both of these teams know exactly what the enemies want to pick. So just hopping back to the heroes they've drafted, I'm looking for something like Acerys, for example, in Bond's hand. You're thinking, okay, that's a good hero, makes sense. Bond absolutely hates this hero, right? One of the reasons why he has to pick it is because it's so late in the draft. We saw like 4 offline bans. We saw both teams just banning out the heroes that they actually want to play. So like now we are on sort of like fresh footing in some cases. Offlane though, so far, Bondrud is still winning the trades.
Still winning trades. As I said, it's Bondrud and also M as well, some of the top offlaners that we have in the game. I feel that, the desk put a lot of onus onto this matchup, and I feel as well with the storyline of this game, top side M versus Bondrud, even into that jungle import versus Ven, so much to look forward to here. Bondrud though, not going to get that early first blood this time. M knows to back away from a level 2.
Yeah, I'm not gonna risk it. Also knows that he is on the weak side. Import sometimes likes to visit early, so he's not gonna risk it. He's just gonna sit back, lose a few minions. Actually, still takes a
here. Anyway, that's gonna do it from us on the cast desk. We're gonna throw it back to the host desk, to F. Dot, Spooky, and HD Philippi to get their thoughts on the post-game breakdown.
Thank you very much. Great cast, TJ and Tang. We're back here on the desk to break things down a little bit just before a break and jumping into game number 2. One of the things the casters said, I think a lot of fans at home said, and I don't think the team said, was that one felt like a little bit of a warm-up for maybe one of our squads here. All respect due. Let's start talking about the team on the other side. Philly, Venny Vens, we were talking a lot about M and the success in that short lane. And when it came down to the off lane, it was Bondrud 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, it was rough. We were watching him all game, not as comfortable on the crunch as he is on the Fang Mao or the Grux. But I think as they go into game 2, they'll have first pick, so maybe they'll be able to squeak one of those characters in. It depends. Still going to be really rough for him. That's the character they have to facilitate, or the player they have to facilitate, and they just didn't get it done. The other side is Ven. Was on the Kwang, which, I really like Kwang, very versatile character, but not the one that shines the most when I think of Ven. So I need him on a character that he is really strong at, or can really make an impact in the game. The Kwang just wasn't it for me. So really tough on that side.
And what kind of... don't be coy. What do you want to see him play? What character? Give me specifics.
Dude, he's so good at the assassins, right? I would have liked him to play the Crunch instead, or the Wukong. I know that was banned. The Fang Mao. Like, there's so many other characters that he excels at. The Zarus even. So I think, yeah, you got to get him on one of those, I think.
Mars, revealing a little bit of what we were talking about backstage. You were talking about Zarus in that offlane versus, perhaps maybe somewhere else on the map. You never lose a game because of one thing, but having that early game spiral out of control in that offlane definitely was a problem.
Oh, for sure. And I'm going to stand by what I said. I do prefer seeing Zarus in the jungle rather than the offlane. However, when you're able to just be one of the best offlaners on any character, you can kind of get away with quite a lot. And I'm going to be completely honest. I think that M maybe just misplayed that early game a little bit, right? You saw him at level 5 stepping up against Bonjud, who had already hit level 6, and it wasn't the right call. He had already taken a spill, pushes the wave up, says, all right, now I'll go for Cyan buff. Haha, no. Actually, I'm level 6, so I'm going to ult you. And I feel there just wasn't enough respect paid from M towards his simply worse early game against Zarus.
Sure.
And it led to him losing the lane. That said, you said it yourself. You never lose because of one singular lane, right? Things were going wrong across the map. But I do think trying to be a little too aggressive in that early game from M meant that also Ven on that Kwang really didn't have many options to go to, and things spiraled.
That's a big deal, when I look at the map of a MOBA, all of the characters are connected in this like Rube Goldberg type like marionette, right? Like if your offlane is losing a little bit, that's going to bring your jungler down because there's less that you can do as a unit on that side of the field and be able to leverage into, right? Like all of these rotations are connected. And so we've kind of identified the first stone to crumble in that early game was that short side, was that offlane side. Looking at the Zarus, walking in. There was specifically that moment at the the level 5 versus level 6. We all saw it, and that was like combat Carl. Like, all right. What was step number 2, Philly? Like, where did it
Yeah, I think the good foundation here for VVMNN is Mayor in the mid lane. And this is what we talk about a lot with the 1.8 patches. The mid lane has to be strong to facilitate. So I think Ven and Mayor have to play together and get some of those early objectives. M, just play safe. Put him on the steal, so that way he can just not do anything and just play safe, and so he doesn't feel like he can be aggressive. Allow your other two players to, speaking, we'll talk about that. Allow the other two players to then facilitate, because Mayor was winning his lane. He was putting the pressure on Shin, which is hard to do, and then maybe you can roll something off of that. So maybe adjust and allow those two players to be leveraged.
I don't ever want to see M on a steal. Like, I want that guy active. I want that guy fighting. Maybe just, wait for your power spike first.
Fair.
That's what we're looking for. More activity. M needs to bring it through. The whole team does, but at the end of the day, Nightshade is standing up tall. Great performance by them, but it's not over. It's just game 1. Game 2 around the bend. We'll be right back. You're watching the PCC. Welcome back to the PCC. It's the fall season, baby. And we are already ready to go. Not my strongest intro, but the games are better. Spooky and HD here along for the ride. And one already in the bucket By that I mean the victory for Nightshade, not the amount of kills that Ven's got in 20 minutes. So let's try to frame the conversation in a positive light towards Ven's, because at the end of the day, their game one wasn't great. Big issues were the off lane M got a little banned out and had some trouble, and Neft on Grim was insane. My analysts also mentioned Mayor in the mid doing big stuff. So we'll adjust. Yode still the ban out here for many men's, just like they were in game number 1. I'm expecting to see some off lane bans here, Mars. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, nail on the head there. You wanted to phrase this in a positive light. Venivens didn't have an empty bucket, right? They had drops. They had some potential in that late game. Wasn't enough, but it was there. They can take that and use that as momentum getting into this draft here. Say, all right, we know what didn't work. We know that Nightshade's probably going to focus out M on some of these bans, take some things away from us here. Let's have a backup plan. And that had to be a conversation they were having during game 1 as well. Say, okay, is this crunch working? Do you think it can work for game 2? Was this a misplay? Do we run it back? I'm sure they have some plans in here. I personally wouldn't like to see the crunch again. But if they do decide to go back, I mean, I'm also of the opinion that you can't let one bad game completely throw off your game plan. Sometimes it's just one mistake, and you can recover from that.
I'm super here for that ride. I like to see teams run back what they just got beat on sometimes, because, like you said, maybe when we looked at that off lane, we were harping on this one singular play where we saw the Xerath kind of have the upper hand, and then they won the matchup despite having the ultimate advantage. Don't know why M decided to take that. Maybe that was the whole thing, and if we just do that again without the oops, we wind up with a better situation. So oftentimes you can overthink and outthink yourself into a loss. So this time around, same bans across the board, the Feng Mao and the Grux, and then across the way the Yode and the Monkey. Rampage first picked. This time, so the exact same draft, but we've swapped squads. Yeah. So Nightshade picked the Rampage last time around. We're going to see it here for Ven's. The big question, Philly, is where does the Predator go?
So, yeah, is it support? Is it offlane? Is it jungle? I think it's going to be jungle here. I think Ven, he's pretty strong on this character. This is kind of that playmaker that he wants to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's there. We'll see how the rest of the draft goes. On the flip side, though, we're flipping the script and we're seeing the Grim first pick. Neff has played this, I think it's like 3 out of 4 games so far in the tournament. So it's just like, this is the guy he is going to be ride or dying with. The Kwang, however, could go anywhere. Could go jungle, could go support, could go off lane. I think that's a good opener, good flexible pick for them. Many events, they're picking up a few more.
Skylar picked up here, an interesting one. We haven't seen that we didn't see that earlier in game number 1. I am going directly to the Grim conversation because Neff was too good on it, Mars. Just flat up and straight up and down. 3 out of 4 games. We've seen him on the robot. Yuri and Monkey banned out this time by Venivens. I get it. We saw Wukong run. I get it. Is there a world where one of these should have been a Grim ban?
I don't think so, because I look back at that.
Or do you take the Grim
draft for
yourself instead of the Rampage?
No. I think the Rampage is way too valuable. And looking back at that game, I don't think it was a draft issue. I think there was just plays on the map that didn't work out, and it just cascaded. The death ball started to happen, and Venivens felt unprepared for it. I don't think there was a single character you can point to in that draft that was the problem that you have to take out. Everything got out of control. So instead, you know what's coming. Play around that. Pick something you think plays well into it. The Skylar, I think, does very well into the Grim. Sure, he can spell shield your Plasma Bomb or your Atomizer. But the thing is, if you throw the Plasma Bomb out and force him to spell shield, he can't spell shield your Atomizer, and the Hypercharge is still going to laser down the targets. I like this plan here, and obviously, he's an immobile character. You can put him in the containment fence, lock him down, and find some good success there. Philly, you said you wanted this Rampage in the jungle. Venivens looks like they agree, and there's some good setup to bring down this dual lane.
And I have to also talk a little bit more about this Skylar pick because it's Septic who is the substitute for Sagu. If Sagu's here, I think they have a really good chance. Septic's a great player, but Sagu is just another tier above, right? Not able to play in this set today. So you have to think about what is the hero pool of that substitute. Is he comfortable on the Revenant? Is he comfortable on the Skylar? Get him on something that he can make an impact on, because we didn't see much of it in that previous set. So I think on the Skylar, he'll have a little bit more escapability. He can play safe, but also make plays at the same time. So I'm liking that pick up there for VVMM.
Second round of bans out here. No Muriel, no Gideon, Gideon, and we've got Gadget and Howie kind of locked in here as well, waiting for our last selection on the other side. But yeah, you've sort of lined up this idea that we're going to see the Rampage in the jungle. I think that's we want more activity in general from Veni Vens. I think that's kind of the resounding sound from everybody, fans and detractors alike. Just a little too passive. For my liking, from Veni Vens, not doing what they wanted to do. Mars, you've got that young philosopher look on your face. Talk to me about Zaras, dude.
It's just they're running the reverse matchup. M said, "All right, you know what? Fine, you beat me with the Zaras on the crunch. Let me go ahead and just run it back. See if it was just a character thing." I don't know if I like it a lot, but I do like them waiting on M's pick to see what the rest of this draft is. The Coliseum is fantastic here. FaZe kind of throws a bit of a wrench into things, because now you have to make sure they're together with this Scrim or whoever you're trying to Coliseum, so she doesn't just yank them out. But I like the ideas being put into play here, especially with the Gadget paired on top. There's some good wombo here.
And
yeah,
I love
kind of like
this
the vibe. I kind of like the vibe here, Philly. You feeling the same?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love the FaZe. That's what we were talking about in the draft one. I thought they were going to pick the FaZe out. They had the Decker because she was available, but knowing the Decker's pick, the Muriel's banned, FaZe the natural pick. You can yoink them out of the containment fence, yoink them out of the Coliseum, yoink them out of the Tesla Dome. You're keeping this Grim safe. It's for Protect 1, which is always the strategy when Neff is on the board. He is your dead lifter. Herculean is this guy. So they're putting it all on him, but can't be understated. Import, the great facilitator, the Pirlo, the Tom Brady, whatever you want to say, the guy who just gets everybody the ball to score. That is this man. He's going to be setting up kill after kill.
Yeah, man, the FaZe was, as soon as I saw it, it was like when you have that, you've got like 7 stacks of Tetris and the one perfect piece comes down. That's what the FaZe was. We were talking, I think, 4/6 of this conversation, no, I will not reduce my fractions, was about how the Grim, it's fine, he's immobile, just jump on him, collapse him, Coliseum him. Well, now FaZe is there to provide that eject button. Get down, Mr. President is the vibe here on the side of NSEU, and it looks like they're in a position to bring this one home. It is a best of 3, and Veni Vens have their tools to go ahead and bring us to that game 3, but they got to play it out on the field. That does it for us. It's over to the casters, TJ and Tang. Let us know.
Thank you so much, Desk. Welcome everyone down to the Sanctuary map for game number 2 here in Winners Round 4 between Nightshade EU versus Veni Ven and the Many Men. TJ here. I got Tang alongside me as always. And Tang, for the Many Men, you got to say, are they actually going to load
to dry? Whew, what an emotional game. And Veni Vens, they did it 1-1 in this series.
What a way to do it as well. An emotional roller coaster. We have Witness Cinema. And again, it's what we said right at the start when the Many Men started to find their stride. This was the game we were expecting in game number 1. And I really do think that the Many Men were just playing the series on hard mode. One game apiece. All comes down to that final game in the best of 3. I do not know if I can even call it at this point, Zach.
No, 100% not. I think in terms of like what we can expect going forward, I really don't want to see the Quang being picked up for Nightshade again, because Bond is just so good on his AP champions, especially when there's so much focus on these AD strong champions like the Feng Mao, like the Grux. So like why not pick something like an Aurora, right? And that is something that he can't actually play if there's a Grim and a Quang in his team, because then they're lacking AD damage completely. So I think for Nightshade, I think there could be like some small adjustments that can make their life so much easier.
A lot of things to think about. Possibly some things to change. We're going to find out though as we wait for Game 3. But before that, it's over to F. Spooky and HD Philly B to let us know their thoughts on the post-game breakdown.
Day's not over yet. We get to keep on going. Bonus predecessor, Game 3. Got to admit, I don't think a lot of people at home expected that after game number 1, Philly, but this jump in, what a big turnaround here for Venivens.
I mean, Venivens is one of the top 3 teams in this tournament, so I figured they would have the medal to clap back, and they did it off of the back of M and Septic. They facilitated them, as we talked about in our pregame show. They got Septic on someone a little bit more comfortable with some escapability. Skylar was like, 10-0, even more than that at the end of that game. Like, just incredible work there from Septic. And then M, that's what he's there to do. The legend of the off lane was able to take Bondrew toe-to-toe multiple times, and Bondrew just shut down in that one.
I mean, earlier I was like, let's just try it again without the oops. You know, M is a much better player than we saw, which is why I was so comfortable like dunking on that performance in game 1, because like we all know you can do better. Why are you walking up there level 5 to level 6? This much more, Mars, what we come to expect out of a player like M for sure.
Yeah, this was a much more typical M performance, and sure, you can look back at that game and say, oh, well, you know, he had his jungler coming in, Ven was helping him out, he started the ball rolling, but there's also something to be said for being able to facilitate your jungler to make sure you can get those early ganks in, right? Because contrary to low elo beliefs, your jungler can't just walk in at any time and gank your lane. You do have to do some work to set that up. And that's what M does very well. He communicates with his jungler, and if they need some help to get that ball rolling, no problem. They'll get that started, and then M's just able to take control of that lane, able to start a lot of fights past that point. And once you've got that going, like, what does Nightshade do? You've got the double cages coming down, M's got a lead, and they're just running at you pretty much everywhere. It was a fantastic performance from everyone in that squad.
There are 2 teams on the server, though, right? And game number 1 wasn't only one because Venivens didn't show up, right? Like, we saw a decent team have some moments in game 1, but ultimately it was really Neft running things on the Grim. This time around, what didn't work out for the side of Philly, or excuse me, for the side of Nightshade? Philly, talk to me a little bit about where Nightshade dropped the ball here in game 2.
Yeah, it's the Kwang jungle. I mean, Import is known for the Kwang jungle, played a lot of it at LAN. It's a fine jungler, just didn't seem to stick. The other side is with the phase. The phase does fall off, off a cliff when it gets to the late game. She really doesn't do anything. And when you get to that point, every member matters. And you saw Secret on VVMM. Pick after pick after pick, those stasis bombs from downtown caught out Import right there at the end, and that was GG's. There was an attempt, or there could have been a defense, but with that pick on the retreat, it's game over. You need somebody that can also do that with your support, and phase can sometimes be pretty difficult to execute. So yeah, I think those 2 changes might be what is called for here.
I'd like to add on to that a little bit, because I think another factor was that Nightshade didn't have a draft that could easily access the Skylar. Once Septic went up, Crunch can't do anything. Quan can't really do anything. They gotta wait for her to come right back down to earth, and that is a lot of times she has to just free cast on whoever she wants. And with the amount of separation that Venivens had on their draft as well, they really couldn't do anything to stay safe themselves while she was up there. So a few pieces just didn't come together there.
Tough for Nightshade this time around, but that is game 2 of the set. And so we're split down the middle. 1 game remains. Winner takes it, not all of it, but moves on to the later parts of the tournament. We'll be right back after this break.
fans focused on M. I think this last game just proved that he can perform regardless of what he's given. Maybe he needs to wait later on in the draft so he's not getting counterpicked, but he's not the guy that you can just completely ban out and ignore free win the lane against. I do think
that it needed to be proven. M needed to prove
Yes.
it. Game 1, we banned you out and you got. So I'm going to do it again in game 2. M came through and proved it though, Mars. So now we're here in game 3.
Yeah. We are not going to see anything change, though. It apparently wasn't proof enough for Nightshade. They said, fine, you know what? You got the win on Zarus. Your jungle carried you. We're not going to let that happen again. Now it's once again up to Venivens. Prove them wrong.
Philly, how do you feel? Do you think the jungle carried them through that game?
Yeah, I mean the Rampage is so strong, dude. Venom was super good, and that's why they're banning it out, because they know that if they don't, it's going to be first picked on the other side, and they're going to go and utilize it from that point. The thing is now the Wukong is available, and import is a menace on this character. So you leave that open. We'll see. I would imagine it won't be their first pick, maybe their second. So they do go with the Kwang first, which could go into the off lane for Bondrude, or could go for support, or import could play it again. But with the monkey open, you think the Wukong is available.
The Kwang, okay, interesting first pick, because we've seen this character. We've also had complaints about this character. So why Nightshade snap first pick it?
Import is legend. Like Kwang is very good. He's very flexible in terms of his role. So he's a hidden pick, right? Because he can go 3 different ways. And Import is a legend on this character. He's very good at it. It just didn't work super well in their composition last time, which is fine. But now you first pick it. Let's build around that. Knowing the Grim is taken off the board now, you don't have to fit that mold with I've got to go and neft on the Grim and then get a phase or Muriel. Like you can mix it up now, because of that picks on the other side.
Ambiguity, always a big value boon. Other side, we see Zarus and the Grim.exe. Taking Grim away from Neft, definitely a big W. I think that is a big win. Statement open to interpretation. Number 1 EU ADC on the number 1 ADC character. Don't let that happen. I think it's pretty cut and dry. We see Skylar here selected. Something Tang brought up as sort of a one sentence statement that I want to come back to, was the idea of AP and AD heroes on Nightshade, and how they didn't really have a good spread last time around, committing to the AD. Kwang here, more of the same. Is that, I feel like the split of AD and AP damage is always something worth talking about, but isn't always, you can win despite that situation. Yeah. I kind of want both of y'all to touch on this. Mars, you go first.
Well, you've got the magic damage coming out from this Kwang. Skylar obviously brings a ton of physical damage. You got 2 more picks here to do. I think they already have a pretty decent spread, because last time you had the Grim, that's more magic damage coming out.
Right.
Didn't have, like you said, the spread you want. I think they've already kind of fixed up that problem. It does depend on where this Kwang goes a little bit, right? Because if you're going to the off lane, maybe you're a little bit more bruisery. Maybe you build a couple more defense items so you can go ahead and engage without getting blown up right away. Whereas if you're in the jungle, you could pretty much commit to full damage, because you're going to be coming in from those flanks, locking people down, and blowing somebody up. So there is a little bit of a question. I think you could afford to still go defensive, because you still got a mid laner to pick, and most of those options are just going to be in the magic damage compartment. There is Wraith available if you want that extra physical, but I don't think you're going that direction.
Yeah, I agree with Spooky here. I think, especially with Shin probably going on the Howitzer, matchup into Gideon. We talk about that all the time. That's extra magic burst. And also the Skylar, she builds Plasma Blade, which also builds into a little bit of that magic power as well. So she has that mix of damage, so, sort of like the Grim. The Grim has that mix of like magic and physical damage as well. So, whoa, this is what I like to see. The Sticky Ricky. Is that going to be the jungle here for import? Oh, that is going to be spicy.
Okay, all right. Richter coming out. Very fun to watch Richter and Faye being the last selection here. Richter, you're excited, so I'm going to let you go with it. And then after Mars, talk to me about the Faye selection, because we haven't seen much of her.
Yeah, I think this is feast or famine, right? You got to be able to land your hooks. All in. And, all in. And if this doesn't work, doesn't work. Fortunately, we're in the upper bracket, so if one of these teams, whoever loses, they're still in the tournament. They can run their way through. I'm sure we'll see these guys in the upper bracket final or the finals later. But a lot of good targets here. You can go after the Grim. You can go after the Crunch. You can go after the Zarus. So I like what the Richter is doing here.
I am undecided currently because there's a lot of combo potential from Nightshade right now, right? The Fae, you get the fly trap into a skewer or a skewer into a fly trap. There's a lot of CC potential to come through. Add on the Decker, you've got some good lockdown here. But the Richter, I'm not 100% sold on. Yes, it combos nicely with this Fae, and the Fae plays well into the Gideon. Has to be very careful where he decides to black hole. If you try to get active too early, you might end up getting pulled down, put in a bad spot. It also has a lot of disengage potential if this Crunch tries diving on you. Drop the fly trap, pull him away. You could have a lot of utility for your team. But do we want the Richter jungle? I am not 100% sure that that's the pick we're looking for right now. Is that the import selection? It feels very reliant on your team being able to follow up.
Something more like hard carry?
Yeah, anything a little bit more aggressive, right? Could have picked this Zarus. The Wukong is still up, and we didn't decide to go for that one, which is a big question mark in my mind. Has a lot of flexibility, a lot of ways to get out of the fight, but also a lot of ways to get into the fight. And this Richter's fully reliant on your team following up. It can't make plays on its own, which I think is its biggest stumbling point.
Yeah, I mean, the Richter could go the offlane. Right, but I don't think I've ever seen Bond Druid. I've never seen Bond Druid play Richter in the offlane. That's why I'm like, it's gotta be import, unless there's something weird going on here in the phase in the jungle or something. I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. Just based on their hero pool, that is what makes sense to me. But maybe Bond Druid's got some secret tech, and maybe he's gonna play the Richter and feel just a little bit more tanky. So we will see. It's about is it can.
Absolute control composition, right? You've got a bunch of tools for NESU. Nightshade, I think Mars is right, or Philly said it. Either way, the desk is right. All in, right? You pick a guy, you commit, you hit the CCs, and either you win that or you lose that. And frankly, the game might just be that simple. Game 3, you either win it or you lose it. Let's jump in.
I said it.
And here we are, friends. It's time for game number 3. We have done a little bit of a time skip. We are 2 minutes into this one. What I can guarantee, the only thing I can guarantee for you, my friends, is that this is the last game on broadcast today. I am TJDJ. I've got Tang alongside me, and we got a quick do. They're saying game 2 was only a blip. Dominated performance from them. And the many men's, again, put on a fantastic show. Nearly had us in the first half with that game 1 performance, but game 2, moments here in game 3, it looked pretty good, but that's Tang. That was sending a message.
Yeah. I mean, whoever they're going to face in the winners bracket finals, it's going to be a banger of a match for sure. Nightshade EU, they've shown that they're not only good players individually, but also as a team, they gel well. And I think that is the big takeaway from this set. The way they rotate together, the way they contest vision together has just been sort of the deal breaker for many events into making it further. Nightshade EU, strong fundamentals, strong players, and I can't wait to see what else they bring.
I mean, that day 1 performance is banished. Probably some demons as well. Was this team going to gel? Was there going to be that cohesion and team play? Yes. Absolutely, yes, there was. Nightshade looking really good. That's going to be it from me and Tang. The TNT cast signing off now. For the final time, this broadcast is back to the desk for the post-series breakdown.
Thank you very much for the fantastic cast, boys. Fantastic work from Nightshade as they bring this one in a game 3. We close the book, at least on winner's bracket number 4, because there is conclusions to this tournament later on. Big stuff to talk about, though. I want to jump into this, Philly. Tang killed it as usual and brings one of the big points that Nightshade came through as a unit. They drafted this team around hard control, and they came through. A lot of our conversation is about individuals. We focus on M in the offlane. We look at the junglers and can import do it. We look at Neft, the number 1 ADC. And we saw Nightshade come through and win as a team. And I think that really goes to speak about the maturity, or the maturation rather, the act of maturing of the game, the scene, and our current contest.
Yeah, these are professional players, the best to ever do it or be doing it. And so, yes, it does take some time to gel, but these guys have been scrimming it. We have these scrim logs, the trackers, right? They have been at it relentlessly to get ready for this PCC. But to get those micro timings where as soon as the Riplash comes in, I have the Stasis Bomb on top, or the Rifties into the Ion Strike, that takes so much repetition, so much coordination, and they were able to put on the clinic here in this game number 3 and round it out in typical EU fashion. Just that ending core fight where how patient Import was on the sliver of health. Both Spooky and I were like, this guy needs to leave. What is he doing? He repositioned, got a hook out to bait the shield from Septic, and then I knew he was free shooting the barrels. Just like, all right, jump on him. He's eliminated. All the damage is gone. Let's go for the core. So just that courage and that discipline from this squad really shown through in this series today. Both well done.
Yeah, I think maybe some of the wrong questions were asked during the first draft, and I'll take credit on that. Can Import perform on this Richter? Is that what they need? It's not about, is this what Import needs to succeed? It's about, is this what the team needed in order to succeed? And we saw the whole game, but I think that end call kind of encapsulates everything, because after all, you hit the nail on the head. It wasn't one person moving forward and saying, I got this guy, let's go ahead and just end the game. It was that constant baiting. Those health bars got real low across multiple members of Nightshade.
Got spooky.
But
Got scary.
They kept finding stuff. They kept finding success, and they came together at the end, made the play, committed to the play, which is most important, and blew it out of the water.
Exactly what they needed to do. Fantastic performance. It was fun to watch as well, seeing the Richter show up. You know, we get some cool kind of where'd this pick come from. Love to see it. And also on the other side, you know, watching M lose that first matchup in game number 1 was exciting, because sometimes it doesn't work like that. I'm always down. I want to watch Bondrewd versus M every single time, but for now, this is the last time we'll see it. Until the next time, because this series is over. This is the European side of things. We do have the North American side of PCC showing up tomorrow, 8 a.m. EDT. That's New York time, people. I almost swore there. Getting too comfortable on the PCC desk, but it's hard not to be comfortable in this place with how wonderful all the people, the games, and the players are. But that does it for us. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Be there or be the worst. You heard it here. We'll catch you tomorrow, friends. Peace and much love to you.